January 8th, 2020, 7 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we start the meeting, we had a swearing-in ceremony at the courthouse on January 1st, and unable to attend at the time was Jerry Abbott. So we'd like to swear Jerry Abbott in tonight, and we'll do so right here. We're going to do it right here so you don't have to walk through the door. I'll tell you what.
Here, do we don't
That one right there. There you go.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Indiana, and that you will faithfully, impartially, and diligently discharge the duties of the office of the City of Greendale City Common Council Member, 2nd District, according to the law and to the best of your ability?
I do.
Okay.
All right.
Sign that. You're in.
And at the previous Board of Works meeting, we swore in Tommy Craig, who is the president of the EMS department. Ready? First of all, I'd like to welcome all of the members of council and welcome the newest members of council, Rebecca, Aaron, and Brett. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your wins in the election, and we look forward to working with all of you. As I look forward to working with all 7 of you as the next 4 years. It's going to be a great 4 years. One little quick note. Little statement I'd like to make. You know, we all come from different backgrounds, and we have different ideas, different opinions on a lot of things. But if we ever disagree, just remember it's just an issue. In the grand scheme of life, it's just little things, and just remember, if we disagree, it's just an issue, and we can still walk away respecting one another, and as we've done in the past. So with that said, once again, welcome aboard. It's going to be a great 4 years. To start off, we'll need the approval of the December 11th, 2019 council minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Jerry made the motion. I need a second.
Second.
Doc, second. We'll go roll call vote. Rebecca?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Vince?
Abstain.
Walt?
Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
And Brett?
Aye.
All right. Congratulations. You made your first vote. So December 11, 2019 minutes have been approved. All right. Audience comments? All right, this time I'd like to welcome Sergeant David Ho-Ho. He's with the employer support of the Guard and Reserve, and he's here to present and award a very good person, one of our own. And he was awarded given this award at the last meeting, but I thought it only appropriate that the full council would get to see what this award's about. So with that, I'll hand it over to you.
That means I should be better, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah. Last one was a rehearsal. This is
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. First and foremost, I want to thank Mr. Mayor and the council for letting me come today and present this award. This award, I'm from the Department of Defense. I work with ESTR. If you don't know what that means, it's employer support for the Guard and Reserve. So when your young soldiers are gone, we're the ones that stepped in and make sure that their civilian jobs are secure. So if you have any questions about your soldier, whether he's rightfully doing this right or doing it wrong or whatever, you can always get a hold of the ESTR.mil. And then that'll give you the the law on what he should do and shouldn't do. But 90% of the time, I'd say 98% of the time, we're just a mediator in between the soldier and in between the civilian employer. And that usually works out very good. I'm here to present an award to Mr. Steve Lampert. Would you please come up here? I'm honored that they asked me to do this twice.
Exact surprise. Definitely surprised that board works.
So Steve Lampert works for the city of Greendale. Roger Casebolt, First Sergeant, Company A, 38th ID. He's also an employee of the city of Greendale. He put Mr. Lampert in for an award, and Steve had this to say about Mr. Lampert and what he does. Steve has been extremely understanding of all my military commitments. I was hired knowing that I was Army National Guard and that I had obligations to fill. Steve in the city of Greendale, and we thank you so very much again, also employs another soldier in addition to myself. He stands fast with a commitment to his employees, and this is a great nation, without a doubt, the best I've personally seen. So we thank you so much for all you do. This award from the Department of Defense is saying that we're proud of what you do for the city of Greendale, and we're proud of what you do for our soldiers. So thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Nice job, Steve.
Great award. So I've got one more thing for you, and then I'll be out of here so that you can commit it to your business. A statement of support for the Guard and Reserve. We've given this to Mr. Mayor, and he's going to put this by his door, and they've already signed it. It says, we recognize the Guard and Reserve are essential to the strength of our nation and the well-being of our communities. Can everybody hear me? Yes. In the highest American tradition, the patriotic men and women of the Guard and Reserve serve voluntarily in an honorable and vital profession. They train to respond to their community and their country in time of need. They deserve the support of every segment of our society. If these volunteer forces are to continue to serve our nation, increased public understanding is required an essential role in the Guard and Reserve and preserving our national security. Therefore, we join the employers in a pledge that we, the city of Greendale, fully recognize and honor and comply with the Uniformed Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act. We will provide our managers, supervisors, with the tools they need to effectively manage those who serve in the Guard and Reserve. We appreciate the values and the leadership and unique skills service members bring to the workforce, and will encourage opportunities to employ guardsmen, reservists, transitioning service members, and veterans. We will continually recognize and support our country's service members and their families in the peace and the crisis and the war. It means so much to this young soldier, and he's probably not young, he's probably almost as old as I am. But it means so much to this first sergeant that he can go to wherever he has to go to, be deployed wherever he has to go, and know that his back is covered by you guys. He knows that when he's out there, you guys are here doing the job and taking care of his back, to make sure that when he comes back, he's got a job. He knows what to do when he comes back. He doesn't have to worry about that, and that's a big asset. When you're deployed, you need to worry about what's going on when you're deployed. And again, sir, we appreciate you and your city for being so kind and generous to all of our soldiers. Thank you very much. And thank you all very much for having me today.
Thank you.
No, sir.
You drove up here today from Evansville, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
We appreciate your drive up here, and have a safe trip back.
Well, if anybody wants to become an ESGR volunteer, which is what I do, you can drive anywhere you need to go and help your soldiers.
So we appreciate what you do.
All right, we thank you, sir.
And on another note, I'd like to thank Joey for all her work she did to make sure all the paperwork is done up correctly, everything processed correctly, so when he does come back from deployment, that his job is here. So,
You've got my card, sir, so if you need me, don't ever hesitate to call me. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And something like this comes at the right time. Steve's son just enlisted and signed up for the Army Friday.
Right.
Leaves July 7th, right?
Yes.
So it's funny how things work out at the right time, right?
I thought when they brought me up earlier, I had to enlist too or something. Yeah. It's a great honor, though.
Would there's no objection from council, I'd like to move the city attorney report, ordinance 2020-01, move that up next. These folks from IMPA drove here tonight, or today, from Indianapolis area. I think if we can get this business taken care of so they can drive back and get home at a decent time. So with that said, I'll hand this over to Anthony in a second. But I'd like to welcome Brian Breckmeyer and Jenny Hartley from IMPA, Indiana Municipal Power Agency. And this concerns the agreement to extend our agreement with IMPA for another 8 years, starting in 2042 to 2050. You want to go ahead and pass out your information? Any
Thank you.
All of you should have gotten my email with the information about the power agreement extension. That would be on the right side of your packet.
Ma'am, do you have any extras?
You can have mine.
Chris, we'll get you one.
Chris,
Yeah, mine.
you can have mine.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you have any questions, council, if you have any questions right now for Mr. Breckmeyer, if you want to just introduce yourself and your role at IMPA.
Yes. One, congratulations, Steve, and the council. That's a difficult act to follow. As someone who has family in Indiana, that's a very special award. But as the mayor said, my name is Brian Brackemeyer. I am the Vice President of Member Services for IMPA. Here with me, I have Jenny Hartley, who is our Economic Development Specialist. Just a quick brag on Jenny really quick. Past few months, IMPA was named a top 20 utility for economic development throughout North America, and so much of that is all the work that Jenny's done, and she's out there representing all IMPA member communities too, to help further economic development progress and activities to the state of Indiana.
This is the second trip this week Jenny's been in Greendale.
Right.
She met with me the other day.
I can get around without a map now.
Jenny was nice enough to hand out some materials to you. You should see a presentation. I'm happy to go through, just kind of talking through the details of our proposed contract extension. Directly behind that have a just rate comparison. Kind of shows how the city of Greendale compares to other utilities all throughout the state of Indiana. On the left side, we have just a one-page overview of who IMPA is, what we do. It's great for people like myself that don't like to read a whole lot of materials, but it does a good job of breaking that down, and also have our annual report. But I'm happy to take any questions. I'm happy to walk through the presentation or whatever that anyone prefers.
It's open to any questions you might have, council members.
Greendale is one of the founding members of IMPA, and that we are forever grateful. When we were established in 1982, this with a 50-year contract, and it's been extended a couple times because we've had some new generation facilities that have been constructed too. So that's why current contract with the city of IMPA is till 2042. As the mayor said, right now we're proposing to increase that contract to 8 years.
So in going forward, what is like the big picture? Like, what is your plan for, I know you needed to build some new facilities and infrastructure. Is that more for like generation or transmission?
So most of that is for generation.
Okay.
Right now, as I mentioned, we're a constructor. I guess we were established in 1982. Through that period of time, we have constructed a variety of generation facilities throughout the Midwest to serve all of our members, which is the city of Greendale and many others. Part of that, now we're getting to the point when some of those facilities are getting near retirement or maybe going to be closed down here soon too. So now we are planning to see what the new wave of that looks like. So right now, for our proposed extension would be to really revamp a substantial amount of our portfolio. And a big part of revamping our portfolio is when you look at our motto, our being for IMPA, and what our Board of Commissioners pushes is low cost, reliable, and environmentally responsible electricity. And when you look at the first part of that, it's low cost. So as we are looking to build some new facilities, it's important for us to also identify what the cost component of that is. And we will need to bond that out. And if we're going to bond, the longer period of time we're able to stretch out that investment would mean lower cost for our members, and that would directly impact the city of Greendale.
And now you say that you're looking at renewables too. What's the percentage, roughly?
So if you look within the presentation, slide 11 shows what, this is not a completely set in stone goal, but we think it's by all means very realistic. By 2030, we fully expect to be 50% carbon free. 2040, expect to be 25%, and then 2050, the plan to be completely zero carbon. And this plan this is basically with the technology we believe is available today, and we believe that would not have any cost implication on our members too. So right now, IMPA is constructing a significant amount of solar. We've constructed 27 solar parks now throughout all of our member communities. So you can see that part of our portfolio rising in renewables, but this would be a much bigger scale part of that. And then for baseload facility, because as I mentioned, much of our generation is going to be retiring, that is predominantly coal units. We would most likely look at a combined cycle, which is natural gas, to fill the majority of that too. So a combination of combined cycle and renewables would be where we see our future going.
Two member communities are close by is Lawrenceburg and Rising Sun. They are members of IMPA also.
Okay.
Richmond, Indiana,
Richmond.
Anderson, Indiana.
Within your packet, this one page that I showed, if you look on the very back of it, that shows all our 61 communities all throughout the state, so you can see that we are very broad, but well represented in the southeast of the state. As the mayor mentioned, Greendale, obviously, Lawrenceburg, Rising Sun.
Aurora's Duke Energy.
Aurora's, okay.
Another thing we're proud about, 2017, 18, and 19, we were very pleased to have 3 years straight of rate increases, which is something that I think is very rare whenever you look at utility and rate in the newspaper. It's usually getting more of an increase. But that's something we think with good management, great board leadership, that we've been able to pass that along. And again, since we don't work with the retail customer, that is the city, that provides more of a buffer for all of you, so you don't have to go ahead and adjust your rates as well as you, and you can use that extra for potential capital projects or whatever else you think that's appropriate to use. So again, low cost is so important, and again, as we look at our future generation portfolio, that's why we need that flexibility in planning to be able to make sure we can extend those bonds for a longer period of time.
Let's say that your rates, for some reason, and hopefully it doesn't happen, your rates, they go up above Duke's, above whoever. Now, we're stuck in this contract. Is that okay? Is that right?
Yes, currently Greendale has a contract until 2022.
I mean, they signed it back in 1982 or whatever. I guess that's the only thing that concerns me. If we're stuck in a contract for so darn long that we can't get out, and we keep pushing it out, and the rates go up, there's no way to get out of it. We're stuck. And that's the only thing. That's the only thing that concerns me is we're pushing. I mean, I'll probably be dead by that happens. But you know, when you look towards the future, and when I know we're stuck till 2042 or whatever, and whoever signed that contract, I wish we would probably not went that far out. And I know you guys need it for your bonds, but I'm sitting here. I just a long-term contract always scares me than anything. But that's just my opinion.
The trend in the industry is they're going to long-term and longer-term because of the push to get greener energy and to get out of the coal. So there's large investments that are being made, and in order to pay for that, the bonds, and keep your electric at a low cost, you have to extend the payment of those bonds to around the 30-year level. So Wabash Valley, what they extended theirs to 2055.
Yeah, if you were to look at the presentation on slide 13, and I appreciate your comments, Counselor. Slide 13, if you look at the cooperatives in Indiana, where our counterparts are Hoosier Energy and Wabash Valley Power that serve the RMCs throughout the state, and they're undertaking similar type planning. They've extended their contracts to 2055 and 2060 respectively. And a big part of that, and I completely understand your concern, this industry invests in billions, and we collect the pennies. So it's kind of the
Yeah.
I'm on the Board of Commissioners at IMPA, and this extension and the future at IMPA has been discussed at every board meeting by Raj, and what we're planning on doing. I think the emphasis is going to be getting out of coal and moving on other. And even though we're projecting to use solar and whatever other renewables, I think he gives a presentation about every other month about how battery, the technology in batteries is just getting better and better. So, you know, who knows, 10 years from now, there may be other alternatives that can be less expensive and so forth.
Absolutely, and if it's helpful, I'm happy to walk through the next few slides, might answer some more questions. So that was just slide 11. On slide 12, it kind of gives another idea of what's going on throughout the state. And you'll see a lot of investor-owned utilities have already announced a variety of plant closures and what they're investing in. So you see AEP, Duke, Becker, and NIPSCO closing a substantial amount of their coal units and looking to put their portfolio into two key areas, and that's renewables and combined cycle, which is very consistent from what we talked about here. Slide 13 kind of iterates again, where it's Hoosier and Wabash Valley Power. They're taking similar changes, but slide 14 is kind of the reason why some of these changes are occurring, because it takes a significant amount of time from start to finish when you start planning a project to actually coming online. And these are two real projects that we have in our portfolio, generation stations, which is Trimble County 2 and Prairie State. And there's some of the newest facilities in the country, and from start to finish, it took 11 and 13 years of planning for construction until those units began online. So as we talk about some units might be getting near retirement or some contracts might be coming up, about 20% of our portfolio is from a nuclear contract, and that contract expires in 2034. So that 2034 sounds like a long ways, and I'm not sure if I want to see what my hair is going to look like then, but part of the fun is now is the time to start planning for all of this too.
Yeah. Kurt, I understand your concerns. I think they're definitely something we should take into effect. But also, you have to look back on our history. How long have you guys been doing this? Since 82?
Since 82, we were established in 80, began operations in 82.
So we're talking 37 years. I mean, they've had an incredible record. I do know that our rates are, I think Steve would agree, our rates are some of the lowest in the country, not just the state, but lowest in the country. I hear these other electric bills from friends and other parts, especially like I have a good friend in Nashville and another friend in Washington. Holy smokes, guys! It's hard, and we're blessed. And I think the nice thing is, the way I see it is, we're really community owned.
Yes, you're
Right, and you know, when we got the mayors representing Greendale, and all these mayors are representing each other, representing the base, you know, it's not like we're all getting rich. It's just trying to provide a good service to the state of Indiana.
I just don't like being stuck. Because you know, as companies start to AEP start to close down or whatever, you know, then there's going to be a monopoly where, hey, we got you, we can squeeze you, you know, and you get that contract for that long, you know, we're stuck. We got nowhere to go. We got no out. But I mean, I appreciate, you know, the rates for being so low and for so long, and I'm hoping it continues, you know. That's just my concern. That's just, you know, my little small concern.
And I apologize if I misspoke. AEP and Dukes, they're not closing down as a company, they're just closing some of their actual facilities and planning for new ones. If I misspoke for that, so I apologize.
That's good.
But, you know, again, as you mentioned, community owned, one advantage where I think that makes IMPA so fantastic is we're not for profit. You know, we are basically consider ourselves community owned because it's true public power. So as some of these other utilities that we just mentioned, we don't have shareholders that we need to pay. We have access to taxes and financing too. So as we are looking to invest substantially in this, it is going to be much affordable price. So low cost electricity is a value to the city. That's something that we believe that we're very strong into. And I'll obviously reliable, environmentally responsible, as we're mentioning, where we're looking to kind of see our portfolio shift.
Steve, was this one of Mr. Rudolph's deals?
Rolling point.
And Mr. One too?
Yes, the guy that created.
He was the guy.
The Godfather.
I think
Yeah.
AEP was the result of the Marble Hill,
It did.
ESI Marble Hill
Yes.
nuclear plant below Madison
Mhm.
that they decided to not do, and PSI went bankrupt over it. And
I will say that particular project was a huge benefit for IMPA because all these investor utilities were needing cash, and that's where you mentioned investments in transmission. At that point, IMPA became an investor in the joint transmission system throughout Indiana too, so we have equal rights with Duke, Wabash Valley, and IMPA too. So transmission assets right now means we believe that we're very happy with that too, but I just want to make that point clear that we do have transmission assets as well, as equal with Duke and Wabash Valley.
And now thinking about rates going into the future, doesn't the state of Indiana regulate those rates regardless? Like, how does that work?
So there is the IURC, the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission.
Mhm.
IMPA is not a member of the IURC.
Okay.
There are some of our members that are, because we don't have access to the retail customer, but we do work very closely with the IURC and LUCC as we go through our annual rate study every year.
Okay.
Greendale's not a member of the
Okay.
FUC.
But I do appreciate everyone's time this evening. I'm happy to go through everything or answer any questions that you might have, but I just want to say we are grateful for without Greendale, IMK would not be created, and by all means, so we started from nothing, now we're a $2 billion company. So I think there's been a lot of growth, positive growth in the past 37 years since we've been started.
Anthony, how does this go down? Do we need 2 readings?
You need 2 readings unless you unanimously waive the reading.
How soon do you all need to know this?
We are at the pleasure of the council. If you're comfortable for this evening, that is fantastic. If not, we're happy to come back another month or another time and discuss more.
Anthony, you've read through the contract. Is there anything in there that jumps out at you, or looks?
No, it's the same contract, it just changes the dates and the termination notice. So, I thought it was fine.
I hate to be that guy, but I don't think I want to waive the second reading.
All right.
Yeah, I agree with you too. Nothing has to be done right now anyway. There's plenty of time, so.
Good. Well, with that, I'll present for first reading ordinance number 2020-1, titled an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Greendale, Indiana, authorizing the execution and delivery of the third amendatory agreement to the power sales contract between the Indiana Municipal Power Agency and the City of Greendale and other matters connected therewith. And I'm presenting that at the meeting tonight, and it has the exhibit attached, and then put that back on the agenda for the February meeting. Okay.
Good with council?
Yep.
That'll work.
Thank you all very much. If you have any questions, in the meantime, my information is within the form, so feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I do have another version.
She needed one?
Yeah, I'll take it, please. Thank you. You gotta bring one. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we learned all about it in the training.
And also, just a footnote here, just to invite any council person that wants to attend one of the board meetings. It's the 4th Friday of every month, and it's held at 10 o'clock in the morning at the headquarters in Carmel. If I write up the day of, you're welcome to write up with me. But I think it's a good idea for council members at least once or twice in their term to meet the staff and so forth. It's good company, very good company.
So the 4th Friday?
4th Friday.
We feed you up.
What's that?
I'm hungry.
Yeah, the nice
Okay,
lunch
sign me up.
afterwards. Nice lunch afterwards. I usually get home, get back to Greendale around 3. starts at 10, then there's lunch, and I usually stick around and talk to, we usually have something to talk about with somebody afterwards, but the invitation is there for any council member who wants to.
So one more question. So are there 61 seats at the board? Does each
Yes.
Yeah, each city has.
each city has their own representative?
Yes.
Okay.
And all of these decisions have to go through the board first. You know, there's a vote, it's just like a big council meeting, and we have to have a quorum, and these agreements and everything are voted on by the board and to present to the cities. So.
I have a question here. If you have members that have shorter contracts, and you go out to issue bonds for your project, are your rates probably higher than they would be if the banks that are bidding on these bonds are certain that you have all of your members with 30-year contracts?
Yes.
Okay.
And then all the members share within the debt too, so if the community had a shorter contract too, then their share of the debt would be spread over a shorter period of time too.
So if all of the member owners sign on to do this, it's probably to the ratepayers' benefit because they're getting lower interest rates on these infrastructure projects.
Yes, sir.
Spread out over a longer term.
Yes.
But all 61 equally share the debt?
Yep.
Okay.
You know, pretty much every electric utility in the country is working on plans to revamp their energy, their portfolio, because, I mean, you know, coal's a dirty word. It's a dirty form of producing energy, and a lot of these coal-fired plants, due to regulation, their time is expiring. You know, they're just beyond the point of repair. They're just having to invest in different forms, and it costs money.
I have a question. You're talking about the, revamping the proposals for this new tech. If the new tech does arise, what happens then? So the new technology comes out, the batteries are better. How does that affect the proposals and the things that are in this portfolio?
So right now it's going to be over a period of time,
Okay.
right? And one of the benefits for, I guess all our members and having the flexibility for that 30-year notice period too is that effectively provides 30-year contracts. So it doesn't hold IPA and hospital saying that we have to get stuff done this second right now, because that allows us to be a little more nimble for the right project to come up, so we don't get stuck in a situation like at Marble Hill. So we can be a little bit more strategic on the projects that happen. So whether something happens next year, we think this is a good idea, or if new technology comes out in a few years from now, then we can still keep that in the work. And again, we've got probably about 70% of our portfolio that's going to need to be replaced over the next 25 years. And likely that's going to be over a period of years. It's not going to be like that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
And most of the utilities, once again, most of the utilities are having their members sign on to extended contracts for,
Yes.
in the contract, the 30-year deal.
Yes.
But that's getting more, that's the common thing now because of
Kind
the,
of thing.
well, I mean, let's just say, for instance, today, we say, okay, Emperor, we're done, because we don't want to sign on for 30 years. Whoever we decide to sign on to, they're going to come to the table and say, sign this, it's a 30-year contract, or so forth, because
And to be clear,
that's the trend.
the city, in the current arrangement, the city would not be able to give notice until 2032.
Right.
That
I'm
is
just,
what it is.
hypothetically, they're all
Yeah.
asking for long-term contracts.
So I'd almost argue this gives more flexibility for that too, but then the other two contracts that I mentioned, like I mentioned with Boozer and Wabash, that they're actually contracts over to a longer period of time too, and it's a very similar, you said that 30-year period.
Any other questions? Then we'll take a vote next month.
Works for me.
Okay?
Thank you all for your time, and again,
Thank you.
if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to, I have a newborn son, so I'm up at all the hours.
And this may be a good idea. Was it the 28th is the board meeting?
Is that it? Yeah, I believe so.
28th
Yes. 10 a.m. on the 28th. Oh,
or 30th?
24? 30, 31st.
31st. Oh, that's close.
Yes.
A few numbers off. But, being that we have to decide this, if anyone has any questions on it, that meeting might be the meeting you might want to go to, and to ask, after the meeting, before the meeting, talk to Raj or any of the other people at IMPA to help you make your decision on this. All right? Thank you very much.
so
Have a
much.
safe trip. Have a safe trip back to your home. Brian, you're just you have a newborn at the house, right?
a 2-year-old and a 8-week-old, so good times.
I know, right?
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. Thanks. Okay. Audience comments.
Mr. Mayor, Vince alluded to it, but I think it's behooves all of us just to sit and sort of wonder. That this cooperative was Mr. Rudolph's brainchild. Bill grew out of an idea that Frank Rudolph had. And now, what's the number of cities in the state that are signed up? It's kind of a remarkable thing.
He was our first chairman of the board, actually.
I think Greendale and Lawrenceburg were the first two members.
Was his baby?
I think one of our council members might have been there for that. I'm not going to say who. Might have been Kurt.
Really?
I was in kindergarten.
Well, you should have been making this little spiel then. I think it was a remarkable thing to think that this co-op has provided low electric rates for a large percentage of the state with the brainchild of our local free speech. Suck it up and get busy.
For those of you who don't have to deal with Duke, Duke's a machine. You have no say, no nothing. You just pay the bill. You don't pay the bill, they turn it off. We're blessed that we at least have someone sitting on the board, and it comes back to the council, and we got guys like Steve who watch out for us, and Sean. We truly are blessed, and we've been very fortunate.
About a little over a year ago, we had a situation where we needed help from IMPA right away, and they were here the next day. I made a call to them in the afternoon, and the next day, 2 of them were down here helping us.
And that was before you were on the board.
That was before I was on the board. I just called as the mayor and said, we need your help. Told them what the situation was, and they were here the next day, and they've been helping us with our
They're a huge support for us with a lot of the substations, because we're doing some very complex work right now. Going from 12 kV and building 2 brand new substations in a 2-year period. Most utilities don't do that very often.
Well, we are rebuilding 2/3 of our electric system. Really,
Yeah.
right?
We have 4 substations, and well, now we got 5, but we're rebuilding industrial, and then we're going to completely revamp and redo Anchor. And they've been around forever, those
Right.
substations, and now we're going to have.
And we're going to drop a couple of them.
Yeah, we're going to drop one, which is going to be Anchor.
Yeah.
A step down, but the 2 substations we're building, the one you see up by the roses up there, can pretty much feed about half the town. As a matter of fact, we probably got about a third of the town all by itself right now while we're doing industrial subs. Before, we had to have smaller subs, situated, but IMPA's just been a huge help for us too. They really have. Joe Schmidt, Billy Castrodale, those guys, Raj, they've been very, very helpful. Very helpful.
we need to do a meter on it, and they were down here
Yeah.
right away. Mitch.
Mitch Reeves.
Yeah. So it's good company.
by RMC by the city utility.
Well, being a board member of IMPA, and just the word is, electric companies are very hesitant to give up any territory. So, and if they do,
The reason is the city screwed up when they annexed and didn't properly handle it. Because that's the fault of the city of Greendale at that point in time. Is that correct, Steve?
Well, I wasn't.
You weren't here. You weren't here. You weren't
I
here.
wasn't born
I
yet.
think there was an opportunity at that time to take over. But I know those, I talked to some people from the IURC, and those maps were drawn by Rudolph Duke, RMC, years and years ago. And it took an act of Congress for RMC to let us serve the water tank up there, the Valley Woods tank, because that was in the RMC area. And they let that one go for us, but I know we've talked to them before.
if you have any connections with REMC, hook us up.
I mean, my connection at the time was they wouldn't, but when the city annexed it, there was an opportunity to do that. And at that time, the city administration, and not Steve, previous manager, didn't properly handle it with the city attorney, and it wasn't done properly. And because of that, we're paying, I've got just what Mr. Carster talks about, we got RMC to deal with the higher rates and somebody over in Osgood instead of local response. So all this you're talking about won't affect those. We won't, the city will be not serving all of its residents. And we pay a substantially higher rate every month.
All right. Clerk Treasurer's report? I can. You want me to do that? Okay. We'll move on to board appointments. We're really making it confusing for all you new members that keep skipping around here, but that's okay. It's a test. All right, we're going to go through the board appointments and now. So first off, my board appointments for the Board of Works, as most of you may already know, Ty Bow and Vince Carstetter are mayor appointments to the Board of Works. I kept both of them on as Board of Works due to the fact they were here from the hit the ground running with the electrical improvements. They're in the know of what's going on, and I think it's just for 2020 at least to keep them on board as Board of Works members. My appointment as deputy mayor is Doc Walt Wilson. He was been deputy mayor the last 4 years. His duties, if I'm out of town and there's something that comes up where the mayor has to take care of, then that would be his duty to take care of those things. Any mayor duties when I'm out of town, or if I'm unable to. I could be out of town. If I can't deal with it, I would call Walt, and he would take care of it for me. He would act as the acting mayor. So there's been times when you've seen Walt direct a council meeting, especially last month, as because he was elected as council president. So at this time, the council needs to appoint a council president, and that would be the person who would be doing what I'm doing right now in the event I couldn't be here for a council meeting. He would do the Board of Works meeting and the council meeting. I recommend to keep it simple, just to keep Doc in that position, but that's council's pick. That's my recommendation, but it's up to council. So at this time, I would need open the floor to nominations of council president.
I'd make that motion that we elect Walt Wilson as council president.
I'll second that.
Are there any other nominations for that position? I need a motion to close nominations.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, and we already had a first and a second, so we'll go down to the roll call vote. Jerry?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Vince?
Aye.
Doc?
I can vote for myself. Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
Brett?
Aye.
And Rebecca?
Aye.
All right, congratulations and thank you, Doc.
Thank you,
for taking
Mr.
care of
Mayor.
that.
Thank you.
He's done an outstanding job when I've not been here. It's been a few times over the last 4 years, but not very often, but when I have been able to be here, he's done a great job filling in for me. All right, Redevelopment Commission, these are one-year appointments. My appointments are Andy Sheff, Lori Howard, and Michael McLaughlin. Those are my mayor appointments. At this time, council gets 2 appointments. And so at this time, I entertain the council to appoint, make motion to appoint anyone that they feel would fill those 2 spots.
Who was on it last year from council?
Doc and Jerry.
Me and Jerry.
I'm going to nominate Jerry.
I'll second that.
Okay, any other nominations? We need 2.
I will nominate Doc.
I'll second that.
Okay, wait a minute. You nominated, okay, Rebecca nominated,
Aaron nominated Jerry, and I second.
Are there any other nominations?
who did that though? You nominated?
Vince.
Vince?
I do.
And he seconded?
I second.
If there are no other nominations, I need a motion to close nominations.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All right. I'll go roll call vote so that we make sure we are closing the nominations for that is Aaron,
Aye.
Vince,
Aye.
Doc,
Aye.
Kurt,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
Rebecca,
Aye.
and Jerry.
Aye.
So now we have a motion on the floor for Jerry, and we have a second. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay. So I guess we'll roll call vote this as Vince,
Aye.
Doc,
Aye.
Kurt,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
Rebecca,
Aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
Aaron.
Aye.
We also had a motion on the floor and a second to nominate Doc. So we'll do the roll call vote. Walt,
Aye.
Kurt,
Aye.
Brett,
Aye.
Rebecca,
Aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
Aaron,
Aye.
and Vince.
Aye.
Before we go further, I just want to let you know the roll call vote, the reason to do that is just to make sure we have on record what everybody's vote is. If I just say all in favor, say aye, and then the nay. We just don't want next month somebody to come back and say they didn't vote neither. We had an instance like that in the last 4 years, and thought it just safe to do it this way. Okay. Park Board appointments. Linda Cromer, Randy Goodwin, and Emmy Gray. And the 4th, it will be determined later, and I'll let council know what that one would be, that person would be. I haven't heard back from somebody yet, so that's the situation there.
Do you appoint all the park board, or?
Yeah. Okay, make sure, I didn't miss anything on this, Joey, did I? I got your cheat sheet. No, we'll get to planning next, it's just page 1.
No, you're moving on to the planning commission, right?
Yep. Okay?
Mhm.
I think this time tell them who was on it, maybe sure as well. Okay, good.
All right. Planning Commission, the mayor gets 5 appointments to the Planning Commission. Justin Billig, Matt Wustefeld, John Commons, Patty Laux, and Luann Weissmiller are my appointees. 2 members that will not be on this year is Bill Taylor and Kim Smith. Justin is taking Bill Taylor's, and Patty is taking Kim Smith's position. Bill Taylor served on the Planning Commission and other commissions and boards for numerous years. He's done an outstanding job, and this was just a matter of there was other people in the community that wanted to step up and help their community, and he, in conversation with him, he agreed to let somebody else take a turn. Very commendable of him to do that. That was the same with Kim Smith. So. Now, the council needs to pick somebody to the planning commission. 2 appointments.
Council has 2 appointments?
Is that right, Joey? 2 appointments, 2 council appointments. And then council picks somebody to be,
One.
and we had Scott.
One to you. Hold on, let me grab my other
Yeah,
sheet.
we had Scott and Matt last time, so I think we get 2 from council.
Board of Works has one appointment.
Oh, I got you. So council does have 1, and then the Board of Works will pick.
Board of Works
You're
has
right,
the other one.
you're right. We didn't do that. We didn't do that, so we're gonna have to do that the next meeting. So council, the Board of Works picks somebody to be on there, which I think was Matt McCool last time. And council, it was Scott Levitt. So since the Board of Works is over and we missed that one, or I missed that, I need council to appoint someone from council to the planning commission. So at this time, I'm taking nominations for that.
Mr. Mayor, I've got a question, just for clarification. A council appointment, does it have to be someone from within the council, or?
No, you're correct. You're correct. It doesn't have to be somebody from council. It could be someone other than council. I think that it's just been that way.
It's always been.
It's always
I
been
think
someone.
Statutorily.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I misspoke on that. So it could be anybody on council or off council on that position.
We just can't stack the board politically. Right now, we have 3D and 2R.
Yeah, my appointments, we can't have more than 3 of the same party. But we covered that, we're good. But on the council picks, that doesn't,
Oh, it does.
Right.
right?
No.
What?
But can it do that? Can it,
Well, we've only
If
got,
it's a,
we've got 3 and 2.
right.
He's got, and his picks were, I mean, we're not gonna be, we can end up even, if anything, we're not gonna end up,
No, it's gotta be an oddball number, isn't it? Or is there 8?
no, we've still got
The park board has
the
one.
liaison. Yeah, we'll have the liaison.
Park board has one on the planning commission.
right.
That affects the number.
And then we have a BOW.
Is that a voting?
I think the mayor picks, the mayor cannot appoint more than 3 from one political party.
So it's an 8-member board?
Right, okay, so 5 citizen appointments, of which no more than 3 can be the same political.
But all the other picks
And no
could be,
elected officials.
the other
On your
picks
pick,
can,
right.
doesn't matter. So political party doesn't matter on the council pick. It could be somebody from council or somebody from not on council.
Got it.
And you can nominate yourself. That has been done. Just to get that out there.
Well, the council keeps
I'll nominate Mitch.
pondering that. I think it's always worked very well that somebody from council is that, an active council person is that person on the planning commission.
Well, it's
Because of the.
It's the ears, the
of
feedback.
continuity, Right.
Yeah.
I nominate Mooch.
Okay?
Second?
Okay. Any other nominations?
I'll nominate Rebecca.
I'll second.
Okay. Any other nominations? All right, I need a motion to close nominations.
So moved.
Second?
All right. Roll call vote. Kurt?
This is to close.
Oh, aye.
Brett?
Aye.
Walt?
Aye.
Vince?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Rebecca?
Aye.
All right, so we already had motion and so forth of each, so if You got a vote? I think this is a first in my 4 years.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking
That's
too.
good. Make this tough right off the bat.
I know, right? Keep you on your toes.
Mr. Mayor, point of order. I think it would have been appropriate and probably necessary to ask the nominees if they would accept the appointment of electeds.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's probably a good point.
So run that by again, because my mind was on something else.
I think it would, parliamentarily, it would have been appropriate to ask the nominees if they would accept the appointment
Yeah.
were they elected.
So would you accept the appointment if you're elected?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Couldn't get you out of that problem.
All right. So let's, Anthony.
There's two nominations, someone's gonna have to make a motion to vote for one or the other and see if it carries.
I'll pull myself out. There's no reason to do this. I'll pull myself out and she can have it. That's fine with me.
You sure?
Are you sure?
It's a 2-year term, just take the next 2.
Yeah, there you go. That works for me.
That's fine.
Be sick of it in 2 years.
I'm sure I probably will be. It's all good.
She may call you up at the end of the first year.
Or
Or the first meeting. All right, well, that's, makes it easy. So we'll do a roll call vote to elect Rebecca to the Planning Commission as a council appointee. So roll call vote. Brett?
Aye.
Thanks.
Kurt?
Aye.
Walt?
Aye.
Vince?
Aye.
Aaron?
Hi.
Jerry?
Aye.
And Rebecca.
Hi.
I just did the nomination, but nobody's speaking up.
So you really didn't want Brett?
He's sitting next to me.
Sorry, buddy.
That's all right.
And the Board of Works has to make an appointee, and you have stressed, I mean, obviously you would like to be on the board, right? So the Board of Works has an appointee to make, and so we'll take care of, take that under consideration at the Board of Works meeting.
Thanks.
Is that fair enough to you?
Fair enough.
Okay, very good. All right. No promises, but, you know, we will take.
I think we got it handled.
So, all right. Okay, so Park Board at their Park Board meeting next, we'll handle it. Get your people in order before
And
the,
we'll handle it.
Yeah.
okay. Okay, thank you, Brett, for that. And thanks, Rebecca, and congratulations.
I know.
Okay. BZA appointments, mayor gets 3 appointees. One actually is on the planning commission, so I selected Matt Wustefeld as the mayor's planning commission pick, and also Warren Bradley and Christine Craig. Christine, thank you for taking that. So council needs to elect a non-elected official. So council gets to appoint someone, and also planning commission gets to appoint somebody. At their first meeting, they will appoint someone off of planning commission to be on the BZA. So at this time, I'm asking council, currently it's Reed Hensley who's served on there. He's been the council pick for the last 4 years, done a great job. So at this time, I'm asking council to nominate someone, a non-elected official, to the BZA board.
Has anyone spoken to Reed, if he wants to redo it, or?
He said he would.
Yeah. I'm going to make that motion. I think Reed has done an outstanding job the last 4 years. I'm make a motion that we reappoint Reed to the BZA for 4 more years.
I'll second that.
Are there any other nominations? All right.
Make the motion to close nominations.
Need a second on that?
Second.
Roll call vote on that. Kurt?
Aye.
Brett?
Aye.
Vince?
Aye.
Doc?
Aye.
Rebecca?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
And Jerry.
Aye.
All right, we had a first and a second motion to nominate, to appoint him, Reed Hensley. So we'll roll call vote again. Rebecca?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Vince?
Aye.
Doc?
Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
And Brett.
Aye.
All right, so I'll notify him, let him know. Thank you.
Thank
I guess that's it, Joey, right? We got it.
I gotta listen to the tape.
Congratulations to those who are going to be serving on those different committees, commissions, and
You need the permission.
good luck to each of you. Okay. And those of you who've been appointed, make sure that you sign the forms that Joey will hand out. Before you leave tonight, before everybody leaves, make sure you get with Joey. Make sure you've signed everything so she doesn't have to
Well,
hunt you
the
down.
ones that you made for the, like, the planning and the BZA, I'm just gonna come to that meeting.
Okay.
And get theirs, but the rest of them I already gave to you.
Anybody here that has to sign something or appointed to anything, make sure you stay and sign the paperwork before you leave. That way Joey doesn't have to hunt you down. All right. So, with that, Joey, it's all yours.
Thank you. You have in front of you, and to get you some of my reports, the financial report is not reconciled for 2019, so we haven't closed out anything for year end. But this is everything we have. The first page is all of our various accounts in the general fund. Is what it is. We have X amount of accounts, and then the second page as well. And then you go to the utilities accounts. And we just don't have all the bills in yet. As soon as we get all those in, we'll close out 2019. We'll keep you up to date. You also have, you do not have riverboat expenses for 2019 because we're not closed out of that as well. So we still have some projects to pay on. We do have the 2019 revenues where we are missing one payment, our quarterly payment from Dearborn County. And then
Joey, is that right? Is it really 3.13 million? Huh?
what did you say?
Is it really, the riverboat revenue is 3.13 million?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's outstanding.
Yeah. And then, I just estimate lower always on the riverboat because of the new game betting and stuff and that. And I came in $300,000 less this year, and then they just always tell us, never estimate high, so come in low for revenue.
Sure. Well, I was just going to say, for the new members, when I joined 8 years ago, Mayor Hedrick took me around, showed me all the projects that was going on, and it was very impressive. And we all know Greendale has grown, and there's a lot going on, and it's a well-run city, for sure. But the mayor told me something I'll never forget. With what money we get from Riverboat, Greendale is blessed. And it is such a true statement. I mean, it's...
When we get the next check, Vince, I'll give you guys a copy of it because they've got the breakdown of all the units.
Right.
We get 11%. We're one of the highest percentages they give to.
Cool.
I don't even know if it's 13 different units or what, but they do give to a lot, and we get the highest percent.
And as you guys will go through this, and you'll wonder, especially during budget time, when the what kicks in, the circuit breaker kicks in.
Yeah.
The circuit breaker is a deal that the state implemented to cities and towns years ago on the tax revenue, and it keeps our taxes low, but it also makes it hard for us to pay our bills.
It's about
And-
it's 500,000.
Yeah.
So we deduct 500,000 off the top of the budget right away.
And
Not even-
you'll find that the riverboat, we don't budget the riverboat into paying our bills. However, it's nice when we have to buy a new garbage truck, or we have to, Steve will come to the council meeting and we got to buy a new boom truck, or, instead of having to buy bonds or go out and borrow money from the city of Lawrenceburg, which we have done in the past, And when that's also a blessing. But it makes it nice that we can just do that and it doesn't affect the bottom dollar to our residents. And the longer you're here, you'll come to appreciate what happened 25 years ago, how lucky it was for Greendale.
And then I did pass out the smaller sheet like this is the 2020 riverboat budget. So what that is, all of these project descriptions, we've sat down in meetings and Steve, prioritized some of the stuff that he really needed. And the only downfall to it is we advertised 4.2 million because that was like what we had at the time to advertise. So we need, and we don't have 4.8 million, which is what all the projects equal. So we are going to have to make cuts in the amount of like 650,000. We don't like to play it so close or safe that at the end of the year we say, oh, we can transfer something to another line item. It's just a really bad game. So it's better to go ahead and cut it now, and if we have extra money, we can move them back over to the line items.
But Joey also explained to him, we won't spend all that either.
We shouldn't.
We never do.
No, Steve's really trying really hard. He's trying really hard.
Boy, Steve, you're...
But here's something that we're trying to do. Is in the past, we have all this riverboat money, and rightfully so, we've used a lot of that money to upgrade the infrastructure. Spent a lot of money upgrading the infrastructure. We had no capital improvement plan in our utilities. Most cities pay for all that infrastructure through bonds or through the rates by having a capital improvement fund. And so the utility raises money itself to pay for upgrades. So we're trying to structure our rates to where over time we can try to wean ourselves off of paying for utility stuff with riverboat money. Maybe not ever all completely, but to some degree, because the money that we want to use to do different things in the parks, trails, and so forth, which that's going to take a lot of money, and it's kind of going to be switching it. So we want the utilities to pay for their own stuff, where riverboat money can be used for quality of place, quality of life, and so forth. And of course, we use that money for roads, sidewalks, which rightfully so, but water, sewer, and electric, trying to unsubsidize them. And it may take years to do, but we got to start somewhere. And because the trend is that the state always is trying to do something with the riverboat money and manipulate it in such a way to where there's always that threat from the state that they're going to figure out a way to take away. Luckily we've been fighting that for years and nothing's happened, but it seems like every other year in the general session when it comes to the budget time, there's always some senator or state rep comes up with an idea that they want to, a bunch of them will say, wow, it's not fair that they have all that money down there, so let's figure out a way to get some of that money our way. And sometimes it gets through, it's close votes, and so we just can't always rely on that stuff, so we're just trying to figure out better ways. So we'll keep you in tune to that. I think it's just good business to do it that way.
And I just have two more comments so they kind of get an idea. When we built this building, we had saved our CUMCAP development money up to about $800,000 or $900,000. Well, we have like $223,000 in there. We very seldom use that. We kind of save it up for development. If we have something, it is a tax account. And then we were fortunate enough to get the safety lit tax that the county fought for so highly on, which was for safety. So we were lucky enough to replace a lot of our payments, our police station, our fire station. We're kind of being creative. If we got in trouble with any pension or anything, we can move that to there for safety, anybody that's in safety. And that's $500,000. So that
yearly.
is good.
That's $500,000 yearly.
Yeah, we're really lucky for that. So, yeah.
Joey, maybe you could also expound on the fact that since we don't use any of our riverboat money for our operating budget.
Well, in October, Steve's always told to stop spending.
Well-
So we budget 200,000 in case there's something big in the end of the year.
Right, but
But no personnel.
we've always lived within our budget.
Right.
We
We don't
have
do
strived to live within our budget.
We don't pay any personnel expenses out of it.
Exactly, and that's kind of been what made us special. The city of Aurora, and I'm not knocking Aurora, so you know that. They budget, Riverboat is part of their budget. They operate off of the budget.
Police are in it.
Yes.
I think that's horrible.
Yeah.
There's 2 cops that are in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to be taken.
Exactly, so you get it. It's tough because they need Riverboat to pay the bills. That's just what they do. City of Lawrenceburg got to a whole different game. You know, they've got a lot of money. If you saw what they took in tax-wise versus what their budget is, it's not even proportional. It's crazy. And again, Greendale is blessed.
You just try to be creative.
Yeah, we really have worked hard to stay in our budget, you know, and I think we're very proud of that. So
We're doing good.
we're doing good. Yeah.
All right, Joey, any more? Oh, yeah, we do have plenty here.
And then, Mayor, I was going to ask if I could go ahead and get a quote from our labor attorney to update the personnel handbook. The last time, we created it, it's in 2015, we've never updated it. And I feel like it's just a good policy maybe to have your handbook modeled to your collective bargaining agreements. So then if, there are any questions or anything, it's going to be in both. It's
Are you
not
saying
gonna be-
Anthony to do that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, do we want Anthony to do it, or did I want Steve Shoup to do it? Because he was the one, though, that did all of the negotiations. He was
The handbook has to follow what the contract says.
Right,
You can't ask the contract to follow what the handbook says.
right,
So,
right.
How about if we, I'm just trying to,
Good point.
Why don't I talk to Steve about it?
okay, yeah. And so we can leave that just to have
Open.
attorney. And if,
Yeah, I just.
maybe they'll work together. Maybe they'll work together
That's
to do
fine.
it, you know.
I mean, I think it would be great that it's dated 2020.
Right.
Because we did that with the ordinance as well. Get it caught up.
Maybe the 2 attorneys work together. That's what I'm saying.
I told you before the meeting, I'm gonna get a computer for in here, so that if people need to come in here, not well on the laptop, put it somewhere over there for residents, public, if they need to look up ordinances, or if they, or code book, if any of our employees need to come in and look up, retirement stuff or whatever, so they could do it in here. And then you mentioned, I did not ask either the emergency EMS to come or the Lonnie for the township fire protection, because they're both the same agreement from last year.
Same thing.
Well, the fire protection's dated January 1, so when Lonnie came in to pay us for the end of the year, Lonnie Walcott, he had mentioned that his budget he turned in for 2020, he turned in $27,000, which is what he had last year, which I think is gracious, really. I don't think that's bad, and been talking to Shannon.
Shannon figured out the number last year, and 27,000 was
That's good.
a good number.
But if we could approve it, then we can go ahead and just sign off on it.
Right.
so
So I need a motion to approve the fire protection agreement, and that agreement basically is where the county pays the city of Greendale to protect their different townships outside of the city limits. Greendale.
I will make that motion.
I need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay. Roll call vote, Brett?
Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
Doc?
Aye.
Vince?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Rebecca?
Aye.
And Jerry?
Aye.
Okay.
And that only has to be signed by the mayor, okay? Then the second agreement was the emergency medical service agreement. What that is that we pay, well, it also has in there the dollar per month that everybody gives on their utility bill goes to the EMS. And then we pay for their gas if the city pays up to $400 each month. And that's basically the agreement we have with them.
Does that 400 cover that, you know?
Same thing. Is that enough?
They And really, they haven't been going over because I haven't been getting their bills. So it's kind of nice. They have their own account set up, but if they do go over, we get the bill. They would send it to us.
I'm amazed that the dollar a month hasn't gone up since 1995.
I know. I'm excited.
Yeah, that's,
And I talked to them guys over there, the fire chief and Tommy. I'm over there at least once a week, every other week, and I talk to them and sit down, what do you guys need? Is everything going okay? And they've never mentioned anything of either of those two items, but being they give me no hint of they thinking those, either one need to be raised. So it's never ever been brought up in the 4 years that I've been going over there and talking to them guys.
maybe you should explain to the new council members that how Greendale Emergency Rescue works.
It's a private company, a private organization. It was founded by Eddie Gordon and Mr. Drury, Mark Drury, the mayor of Aurora, and Mrs. Dixie Click, I believe she was part of that. And Linda, if you, or anyone, if you can.
There was another one, but I can't remember who it was.
Mr. Well, anyway, they founded that. Most of them were fire department members anyway. They founded that, and it's a private organization. We let them keep their equipment at the firehouse. Most of probably 95% of the members of the EMS are firefighters too. So, you know.
And they help with the wages. So, so if they're making minimum wage and stuff, they help out.
So it's a good.
But we don't pay Tommy. Tommy's not a city employee.
He's not an employee.
He's employed by GER.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to wrap your head around how it all works.
We have a good setup here, and it works. So the one thing the city does, we let them house their equipment at our firehouse. We don't charge them for that. They all get along, and the city puts $1 more on each utility bill, which if somebody doesn't like that, they can come in and request that to be removed. And then the city pays up to $400 for their gas, so, you know.
And all of our Steve's employees in the trucks, we have big carts, so they can go to different various places. So they keep them in the glove compartment, the same as the fire and the
Right. So it's a good setup. And the fire department, the EMS, and the police, they all get along with one another, which is unique in itself. Some cities, mayors I talk to, that's not always the case. They don't, you know, the EMS is one building and the fire department somewhere else, and it's a different ballgame, but we're pretty lucky with that. So we need a motion to approve the 2020 Emergency Medical Service Agreement.
So moved.
Yeah, second?
I'll second.
All right, roll call vote. Vince?
Aye.
Karen?
Aye.
Doc?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Rebecca?
Aye.
Brett?
Aye.
And Kurt?
Aye.
All right.
Last thing, I promise I'll be quick. Just so the new board knows, I kind of waited till you guys get your feet kind of in here. And the state board, the last time we were audited, they came up, we've been audited for 20 years, and they decided on the 20th year, you need to have a policy for a lot of the things that we do. So the only policy that's outstanding, and I haven't had a chance just to throw it on paper, is I'll give you guys a draft of the riverboat policy, what we're doing, like we said, some money spent and stuff. And then I told the mayor, you know, really one of the things I think to tackle is retirement, like party/gift, or something like that. We want to quote the donations that we give, the limits, you know, put that in there because they want to know about that. And just another quick word is, we really are good with the donations. We give $15,000 out, and I want to say this to the mayor because I haven't even told him yet. I've been working with the foundation, the Dearborn County Foundation, and I don't want to overspeak, but one of the things they did say was, and I don't know if they were referencing us, but I do worry. We really need to watch how much we give out in the larger lumps, because they are. And if we have that money to give out, I got this from word of mouth, a friend of mine, they will only give maybe then to probably the safeties. They might eliminate the municipality. And so I thought, well, okay, I'll say something, you know, I'm going to bring it up. Because we do get, I mean, we get, well, our police and our fire get a lot. We really don't ask for much.
Joey, are you saying the problem is the total or the finite amounts of each asking group?
It's the finite amounts. They see that with the check and standing in front of it and stuff to different units that we give to, and that's kind of been a red flag, so. Just something to think about.
And can you tell us what kind of dollar amount that is, or just so we have an idea?
What do we do now? 1,500 is our biggest?
It's not that. It's, I'm not gonna lie, you know what it is, Mayor.
Well, me and Joe talked about this, and,
It's just
well, anyway, so I'll just bring it up. I was gonna bring it up later, but anyway. The youth ambassadors, Dearborn County CASA Youth Ambassadors have a big event every year, and at the event center. Greendale's been very supportive of this group, and they have to raise $25,000 or $23,000 in order to pull this off. The event they have is they bring in all the 8th graders from the 3 school districts in, and they have a day where they pretty much is anti-drug, anti-smoking, anti-vaping, and so forth, that this group of high school students talk to 8th graders about. And last year we made a donation out of my fund, mayor's budget, which it's there, of $10,000 toward this event as a support. Now, how this all came about is Governor Pence, when he was in office, his State of the State, he challenged every mayor to do something in their community to combat the opioid epidemic. Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, I latched on to this youth ambassadors, these high school students from East Central, South Dearborn, and Lawrenceburg, that were doing that with the young people, prevention. And Governor Holcomb has done the same thing, but his thing he's stressing now is anti-smoking, anti-vaping. And that's the course that this group is doing now, not only anti-drinking and drugs, but the smoking and vaping. So they're having this big event again this year, and I was going to reach out to council tonight and ask to do the same thing we did last year. I think the year before we donated $5,000 to them, but they didn't have the big event. But the $5,000 went in to show our support, kind of doing what the 2 governors have kind of preached to the mayors to do. We're not doing anything different than a lot of the cities are doing throughout Indiana. Now, maybe they're not supporting their youth ambassadors, but they're doing something. So this is something that, I mean, we are doing something. So, with that said, I was going to ask council tonight to approve $10,000 out of my mayor's budget to put toward that event. We did it last year, so there it stands.
So are you taking motion?
Well, I have
Is this something you want to do?
I was wanting to do that. Yes, I was wanting to do that.
Okay.
Listen, this is a good group. They're doing.
They work hard.
They're working hard right now. They're invited to the State House of it's Indiana Day of Action. The MC of the event is one of the seniors of this group. They're the lead group up there doing this, along with a couple of students from Bartholomew County. This group is like the the envy of the state amongst these youth groups. I mean, they're doing the right thing. So, this was our way of Greendale supporting, doing just what the governors have asked. And instead of trying to reinvent the wheel and try to come up with a different program, I looked and said, what can Greendale do to support a group that's already doing something? And I think prevention is, if you can prevent these young people from smoking, drinking, the drugs and so forth at a young age, that's a good thing. So,
What's the name of the group?
Dearborn County CASA Youth Ambassadors?
Oh, is it CASA?
Yeah.
See, I think you should take
CASA. What was the end of it?
Youth ambassadors?
Youth ambassadors.
Youth ambassadors, thank you.
Type of statement and we put it on their donation agreement. I think that would be good, and then that way, if, we,
Well, I mean, I understand what you're saying, Joey, and I agree with you, but
So you're saying you,
I think if it was explained to Fred McCarter, that he explained to his people what we're doing here,
well, that's why I say.
I don't
let's put
think it would be a
statement
problem.
well, could we do this? Could we take the 10 and put it into our general donations and then
That's
put-
what's it, what's kind of, he has a budget of $165,000. And Andy and I are gonna divide that up because it's always been under, promotional in Riverboat. But we really need to have, we've talked to a lot of other cities, there needs to be a mayor's budget Riverboat, and there needs to be a promotional Riverboat, which is gonna have the donations in it, and we are gonna divide that
The
up.
promotional in the past was $45,000.
Right, and 15 of it goes for donations,
Right. And then we paid fireworks out of it.
14 fireworks.
Yeah.
It
And
always,
then-
it equals out, yeah.
Yeah, so, since I've been mayor, well, the third year and the fourth year, I've asked to have my own line item. So if there was a project that came due, like when we did the recycling, curbside recycling, paying for the cans came out of my budget. The memorial, although it cost more than what my budget was, but that's where the majority of the money came from. So I don't have any big, stuff coming down the pike that I can think of at this minute, but that's where it came out of last year. That's where it came the year before. Let's just say this, the Lawrenceburg contributes over $100,000 to CASA every year. The city of Lawrenceburg does, okay? But the youth ambassadors have to scrape for every bit of money they can, okay? So, in talking with these young people, they're very appreciative of the fact that Greendale supports them. I went to their Christmas dinner. They invited me to their Christmas dinner. I went to one of their meetings they had before the Farmers Fair a couple years ago, and they were putting a float together, but they were panicking because they didn't have anybody to pull the float. And here I am with a pickup truck with a hitch, and so I just said, I can do it. So I pulled the float in their parade. So we have a relationship, and they do the Sasquatch in the park.
Yes.
Oh, that's fun.
The park board is big fans of the group.
Yeah, and so they're a good group, high school students that are trying to promote no drinking, no drugs, no smoking.
What area do they represent? Dearborn County or?
Dearborn County.
Just Dearborn County?
Yeah.
so this is a group that's trying to get to the young kids to prevent them from starting in the first place.
Right.
Where CASA is kind of more on the other end of the deal,
CASA's with
the big picture.
the big thing.
There's a
This group is
subtitle on
focused
CASA,
on
basically.
Yeah.
high school,
Right.
or they're focused on high school and junior high kids.
What am I missing here, Mr. Mayor? Somebody's complaining about 10,000 is too much, 10,000 is not enough.
If we can give 10,000 to something like that, they're saying, why should they give us a grant? But I'm saying if he puts a statement with it, he can do what he wants. That's part of the Riverboat policy. That'll be,
You're afraid we're going to lose the grant.
no, I'm just saying be cautious. Like, you know me, I'm always black and white. I don't do any gray, so that's just my opinion. It's my opinion only.
But you're saying with the statement, if the statement goes along with it, then it can
Well, it covers
appease.
what you're doing. I mean, he's saying.
Last year, we had the same issue, was brought up, and I talked to Fred McCarter on the phone, and Fred explained to Fred McCarter, and Fred McCarter said, don't worry about it.
Good.
Okay.
So I'll do the same
Talk to
again.
him.
I'll talk to him again.
I think, Joy, though, you have a good idea. Attaching a statement.
Yeah.
I like to cover myself.
I'll type out
I think that's.
everything I've said here tonight, I'll type out.
Well, just say the governor asked you to do it, and I'm doing what I've been asked to do.
Well, those both, I was at both of I went to two of their state addresses. And, part of their address was, I challenge the leaders of every city and community in Indiana to do something to prevent. And I came back, my first year I came back and I'm thinking, what can I start up? What can I start up? And I thought, well, why try to reinvent the wheel when there's a bunch of young people down here trying to do what I want to do? Why don't we just support that and really support them? And we'd be doing what we should be doing.
It would be an easy addendum just pursuant to the governor's challenge.
There you go.
And the
And done.
newbies, just so the new ones, to the newbies today. So they know we do a donation, we have to do a donation agreement, like a grant donations / grant subsidy agreement. And we get that and we tell what the money went for, because we have to report it at the end of the year on our annual report.
So, are you still looking for a motion?
I am.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion. I make a motion that Greendale donate to the CASA Youth Ambassador Program $10,000 that was earmarked for the mayor's budget.
It's out, comes out of my budget. Thank you. And I need a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call vote. Doc?
Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
Brett?
Aye.
Vince?
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
And Rebecca?
Aye.
Thank you, and I'm sure they will be thrilled. They will be thrilled. So. And let me tell you something real quick. I went to one of their meetings, and they have like the president, and they have somebody taking notes. I mean, they are very organized, and they wanted me to say something to the group, but I couldn't say nothing until that person says, "Okay, Mayor, it's your turn." So I just sat there and listened and behaved. They were the chiefs, I was the Indian. So it's a very good group of people, and thank you very much on behalf of them. So, anything else, Joey?
No, I'm done.
Okay.
Does she need a motion to purchase the computer or laptop?
Take it out of my budget.
Okay.
Joey, how are you gonna keep it from walking away, checking it out up front?
That's a good question.
Because if it's just in here,
We can keep it in the,
We could move it closer.
into the room in there.
Conference.
There are locks that you can put on a laptop, so you
I
can
mean,
lock
it's
it
only
to
gonna have
something.
internet on it. It's not gonna be shared or anything like that.
We'll weld a chain.
There you go.
Yeah, well, that's well.
I don't know if I'm just on my donation.
Yeah, I got that down.
For you.
Yeah. Okay, anything else, Joey?
That's it.
This meeting is a long meeting tonight, and usually is the first of the year, and after that, it tails off. We'll be out of here by midnight. Okay, Redevelopment Executive Director report, Al?
I'm Al Abden, I'm the Executive Director of the Redevelopment Commissioners. Congratulations to all of you. Welcome to the new members. Look forward to working with you over the next several years, 20 or 30. And I was going to go over this report that I gave you line by line, but I think we're out of time. So. I really just wanted to welcome you and let you know that I'm available by phone, email, text. Come see me, come talk to me, get questions, I'm happy to answer them. Take you around the projects, show you projects we've done, show you projects that are on the horizon. Anything you want to do. And if you do have specific questions about the report, you can ask them tonight, you can ask them any other time. So I'll be getting you these reports every month, but the mayor asked me to come to the February meeting and explain the year-end report that we'll have for you then for 2019, and then 6 months later give you a 6-month update. Between there, I'll show up whenever somebody asks me to show up.
And you'll have the paper report.
But you'll have the paper reports every month. Questions or comments? Concerns? All right. Thanks so much, guys and gals.
For those who weren't at the Board of Works meeting, I've asked the police, fire, EMS, Linda with the parks, and Al is especially February and July to give the yearly reports to council. They do at the Board of Works, but I want them to be here to council. That way you can ask any questions you have for them. So, and they will be here. Chief Ullman's here, or someone from the police department's at every meeting. But, I think it's be good for all of council to hear what the fire department and EMS have to say at parks, so. February and July for sure.
Can I ask for one question real quick? Al, have you had any luck with Bellevue? Are we on the list, or where are we?
Yeah, we actually just did an updated report, went through the county, and OKI, which OKI is the purse strings for NDOT for our, because we're in the Cincinnati MPO. We've gotten it back on the list, and it's actually in a high priority category this time. I'll be talking to my board about asking if I can go ahead and get the numbers and everything updated to resubmit this year. I've been submitting it ever since 2013. So the numbers that I have are about 3 years old. They have approved one piece of it that wasn't in our scope. It's something they added to the scope, and they have approved that to go in 2020 or 2021, and that's a stoplight that we didn't ask for, and that's at where Greendale and Ridge meet.
Oh, Lord.
We don't
I have
need
no
that.
control over it. It wasn't in our original plan, but they did it. Say, well, look, you got this. We don't want that.
Right.
You know? But you can't tell them that, because then they don't want to come back.
Right.
And at this point now, with what they have done to help us,
They've been tremendous, actually,
yeah, so, you know, with
on other projects.
yeah, with the State Line Road turn lane and the signal there, and then the Roses light, which everything's still, it's not finished, there's still touch-ups they need to do. But what we had to do to get all that to happen, and we're like thanking them, and then they throw this other light at us, and we're like, what'd you do that for?
NDOT's been more present in Greendale in the last 3 years than they've been in the last 25. It's been great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Al. Let's move, unfinished business.
Real quick on Ridge Avenue, that's a community crossings grant that we received from NDOT. It's a 75-25 match. 75% is coming from the state, 25 is the city of Greendale. It's the repaving of Ridge Avenue between pretty much the cemetery entrance and Bellevue. I need to put the specs together and get it out on the street for bid. Most likely it will be constructed in the summer of 2020. This is a program, Community Crossings Grant Program, is funds that were developed through NDOT from the state, and they're looking to upgrade local roads and communities throughout the state. I don't know how many millions of dollars that they've given out. It's probably $300 million a year for the last some odd years. So we've been very fortunate. Parkside was a road that we got on the Community Crossings Grant, as well as urban way extension that we did.
Half of Opening Road.
An Opening Road. Thank you. That was the first one we did. So we've been very fortunate. Got a lot of road improvements at quarter of the cost. So we'll keep moving on.
And again, guys, this is the money that comes out of Riverboat, that 25%, and that's where other cities can't come up with 25%. This is the blessing. It allows us to quadruple our bang, and that's the amazing part of it.
Okay, thanks, Steve. New business, code enforcement report. Jay?
Good evening, council.
Good evening, Jay.
You guys should, in the back of your packet there, have a code enforcement report there. Same as last month, we have 15 vacant addresses at this time. And
Jay, explain to them what a vacant address is.
a vacant address is just an empty or abandoned home. Something that's been there, it's on my radar that I just keep tabs on and keep track of, monthly.
So how long does it have to be empty before it is deemed?
As soon as it goes back to the bank, or they notify us at the office that they are walking away, I add to the list.
So they come into the utility office and say, remove it.
Right, Aaron, a lot of times there's no utilities to it. That's the first thing it puts on the radar.
Right, correct.
Don't think of a vacant home as not a tear down, or as, it doesn't have to be in back, just the house is deserted. But generally, it goes south from there.
It does, and that's why we keep a real close eye on it. And,
Right.
these are generally the ones that, you know, I have to kick the butt, or the bank in the butt, and get them down here to mow, and, or preservation company, have them hire a preservation company. And if they don't do that, then I step in and hire a contractor to come in and mow it, and then we will put a lien on the property for that amount.
Okay, to put it in perspective, what was the high we get? This will put it in perspective.
We were,
When I first came here, Steve, what were we at? I'm trying to think.
130?
I think, the number I remember was 158.
There was
What?
well,
It was way high.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was right around one.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
During 2007.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, everyone, yeah, that makes sense.
That makes
It was like in 2009.
Yeah, this is outstanding. This is easy. Because usually after this, we have to have a unsafe building meeting, and that's when it gets ugly. Then you're doing things to people you don't want to be doing.
We've only had one of those in the 4 years since I've been.
Yeah, but we had many prior to that.
Right.
I think we might have a couple we negotiated out of,
Right,
where we purchased them, and, yeah.
right. It was, before that, they were,
We bought them and tore them down.
yeah.
Any way we can get a list every month with the report, Jay?
Yep,
Is that,
I can have
is
a
that a
list
big
on there,
deal, or?
a list of the 15 addresses.
Yeah.
I think that's, yeah, that's no problem. Should, I mean,
Do we want to make that public?
that's what I don't, that's what I was just gonna ask.
That's what I don't know.
I think just a number would be good.
Jay, could you list whether the utilities connected or not
Hey.
connected, so you know whether
Why can't it be public?
empty and abandoned?
Then they get broken into.
It's just,
The-
it's a temptation
yeah,
out there. to be
right.
like, hey, there's nobody in that house.
Dwayne,
Get in there.
they have the list. They keep an extra eye on them.
Okay.
That's, you know,
I mean,
I think you could ask Jay and he
Yeah.
verbally tell you.
I can absolutely tell you.
Yeah.
All right.
The one thing me and Jay were.
What's that?
You were saying something.
Oh, I don't know.
One thing, me and Jay were talking today, just discussing the new path forward. I sent a late email to everybody with a couple items, and I apologize for that. But about his report every month, you know, there's been some months Jay gets up there and he says, well, we got 16 vacant homes. Anybody have any questions? And it gets silent. He goes, okay, thank you, and he sits down. I think to make it smoother, and maybe for Jay and for everybody, is, you know, if he puts in a packet how many vacant homes are. We know what a vacant home is, but Jay will be here every meeting, and I could say, does council have any questions for Jay concerning vacant homes? If there are none, that's fine. But Jay will be here every meeting to discuss if we have a unsafe action, and he will be here to answer any question that you may have concerning any ordinance or items you might have. But, you know, like I say, some meetings he just stands up there and says, well, we got 16 empty vacant houses, and you have any questions? And there's no question. He says, okay, thank you, and he sits down. And I mean, it's up to you. I just thought, you know, he puts it on the paper how many vacant homes are, and he'll be here to answer any questions about anything else. And if somebody has a question, he'll come up and answer the question. If there's none, we can move on. So,
And
well,
also,
what do you think, council? Is that,
yeah,
That sounds like a good plan.
I'm good with that, but
or do you want him to come up and tell us how many vacant houses there are every month?
right. You know, the other thing, I think, there's a lot more to Jay's job than just keep track of vacant houses.
Right.
That's small in his scope, but more importantly to us. So,
Yeah, I mean, there's relevance in it city-wise, but I'm just talking about, I mean, you know, like say, some months you just stand there and say,
I do. It seems like the majority of the months, and you'll still have your report every month, and I'll still be back here every month, but,
and I'll just say, does anybody have a question for Jay concerning any issue with anything? And if you do, then Jay comes up and answers the questions. Does that sound like a good plan?
Yes.
okay.
thank you, Jay.
That's what we'll
Thanks, you
do.
guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. No, we got one more thing. One more thing. Every year, we've talked about, since we have a new council, a couple items concerning donations. We have, I'd like to have an approval tonight on the maximum amount, which in the past has been $1,500. And council allowed me to donate for anything $100 or less. So it didn't come to council for a $100 donation. So if you want to keep it that way, on donations, $1,500 max, and anything $100 or less, that I could sign off without approval from the council. So just housekeeping, new council, let's see if you all want to keep doing it that way. If so, I need a motion.
Mr. Mayor, when do we run out of money in that fund?
Usually around October, September, October.
That's good to know.
And usually nobody comes to knocking in those late months anyway. Probably because we tell them we only make money.
You said 1,500, mean 15,000.
15,000 is the total max, but 1,500 is the max we can give to any
Right.
individual group. 1,500. Yes. So
I
those
think
are.
that worked well last year.
It did work well.
I'll put that in the form of a motion, Mr. Mayor.
I would second that.
Any questions? All right, roll call vote. Aaron?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Rebecca?
Aye.
Vince?
Aye.
Walt?
Aye.
Kurt?
Aye.
And Brett?
Aye.
Okay. Another thing about donations. Cities do donations 3 different ways. Some cities don't do donations at all because they don't have any money to do donations. Greendale, Aurora, any riverboat community is blessed to have extra money that they can give away as charitable donations. So some have no money to do it, and the ones that do have money either have a committee that makes recommendations to council on a single sheet of paper that this group has seen the applications and they've made their recommendation to council, and council would just vote on their recommendation. Or we can do it like we've always done it, is the people come to council, they get up there and they give their talk, and we tell them how much we love them and they're the greatest nonprofit, and everybody says their accolades to them, and then we vote and we give them money. I'm just asking if council wants to continue to do it that way, or would you like for me to look into maybe a committee, and I'm thinking of the BZA members, that after their meeting, that they can look at these applications and discuss that and then bring their recommendation to council. Because I'll tell you, sometimes we spend half an hour or even longer at our council meetings, and listening to legitimate people asking for, but, when you have a political body making decisions like that, sometimes I just don't think that's healthy in a way.
And the committee, would they have, like parameters?
Or guidelines.
The same guidelines we have.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just asking, is that something you want to look at? Joey, you had your hand up.
Well, something he and I thought about, I'm so sorry I didn't bring it up to you when we even talked about it. He's right, I think it would have to be at the meeting because they meet after you're having a quorum, and we can't do that. I didn't think about that. Because of the.
Or we could have another group of individuals to do it. So, I mean, we can have a different group. I'm just asking, do you just want to keep it, do you want to keep it the same way we're doing it, or do you want me and Anthony and Joey to sit down and try to come up with another plan of attack that would work and then bring that to council? We got 4 next month coming, asking for donations. I'm just thinking, what could be easier?
Mr. Mayor?
But the problem I've got with that is the fact is that if the committee you appoint and they come back and say, we don't want to give to these people, but yet I think we should give to these people, or we should give a certain amount to these people, and they think a certain amount to these people, then here we go, we got to have another meeting to get these people back in, and that takes too long for these people to get their money. And now, I mean, I'm all about cutting time down, but if you got people up there who have a real pride in their organization and they're trying to tell us what good they're doing, well, now that we're videotaping, maybe somebody will see it out there and maybe give more money to this organization that they don't even know about. So, we're sort of like a little platform for them to tell the other people who are watching.
Linda?
I don't want to throw down with him, but boy, isn't it a time suck? It is a time suck.
Well,
I understand what you're, I'm sympathetic to what you're saying, but it takes a great deal of time, oftentimes when this council has really more serious issues to wrestle with.
Part of the job.
well, all I did was bring it to the table. I brought it to the table 2 years ago. Council said, no, we want to keep doing it the way we're doing it. I just thought we got a new council this time, bring it up again. You know, you're the council, you make the decision. If you want to keep the same way, that's fine. You know, cities do it the other way. Lawrenceburg has a committee that they bring to council, their recommendations. Other cities throughout Indiana have it that way. It must be working. We figure out how do they do it, see if it works for us. But then again, some cities like to have the people come to the council, and council could decide.
Council can do even with the committee's recommendation, we could still, if they say, we think $500, if we think this castle, for instance, needs more than that, we can still up it on our own. We don't
That
have
would all
to-
be
we
in
don't have to
whatever
do-
guidelines.
To say,
was-
sure, if your scenario, if they came to us with a recommendation and they said, you know, A, B, and C, $50, $100, and we wanted to give the $100, $500, we
could.
could still do that, right?
We still could.
But they're just giving us the recommendations and they look through all the applications, everything.
On the recommendation sheet, you can go each line and vote each line. You can say, yeah, I agree with them. But what it does is you don't have to have these people come to the meeting.
But it holds us accountable too, though.
So,
But the hard problem is, and I know what Kurt's saying too, but here sits your neighbor with these two Girl Scout daughters, and they're asking for something that you don't think is really worthy of a donation. It's hard to look out there and say, I'm voting no.
It's hard to be impartial.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh, what you're saying is somebody comes here and
And
they're
you
seeming
know
here,
most
it's hard to
of
say
them.
no, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
I can tell you once, we gave $1,500 for 3 kids to fly to DC for something, I almost want to think it was like a cheerleading thing, I don't know, whatever it was. And I voted for it, I'll be the first one to tell you I voted for it, but on reflection,
I did too.
I shouldn't
I
have
had
done
the
it.
same reflection.
It was a poor, it
Because
was
they
waste
were-
of
they were sitting
taxpayers'
here.
money. Yeah.
Because they were sitting right here in front of us.
Yeah, they sit right here and they're looking in the eye, and
So
it's
the-
hard to tell them no.
so the idea of this was we would not have,
Right.
whatever way it could be worked out, the idea that I had was talking to other mayors, and that, you know, I didn't get the specifics of how it
Right.
worked with them, but they didn't have the people come to the meeting face to face, asking for money. The application was, they sent in an application. The application went to this committee. The committee made a recommendation only to the council. Council looked at the recommendation and either said, yep, we agree, or they made changes to the recommendation. But it was done quickly. You didn't have to face, you didn't have to worry about making somebody mad. You know, we're all elected officials. Who wants to tell somebody no? So, it just puts you on the spot when you see two or three little girls sitting there with their Girl Scout uniforms on.
They're all carrying guns.
Yeah.
It's even worse.
So, it's just an idea. If you don't want to, if you just want to keep doing what we're doing, then we keep doing what we're doing. It's just a.
You know, the nice thing about doing that.
It's just a suggestion of another idea for you to think about. If you just say, no, that's too complicated, let's just keep doing it the way we're doing it. Hey, we keep doing it. We got 4 of them coming next month. You know what? As long as McDonald's is open, I have some place to eat after the meeting. It doesn't matter to me.
I will
So.
give them like the past history too, so they'll have it if you gave.
That's important.
I apologize for that.
Yes.
I should have hit that tonight.
So, just
You
a
need to know too that Joy has developed a pretty comprehensive application form. They also have to provide
Well, they have to be a,
501c3. You know,
Yeah.
there's a good paper packet made up to begin with.
right, and that's gotten rid of a lot of the nickel and dime
Yeah.
stuff.
And the BZA people, I was thinking, is they adjourn their meeting, okay? And it's like they put a different hat on. They are no longer BZA people. They're not, they became, and all I need is 3 of the 5. Don't need, you know, just 3 to 5, sit down, look these up. They're now the whatever advisory committee, donation advisory committee. They make the recommendations. It comes to council on one sheet of paper. We can go line item, just item by item, and say yay or nay, or let's up that one, let's lower that one. This committee will have on paper what we gave them in the past. They'll know all the guidelines. The guidelines are made from what we tell them we want them to do. And there it is. Just an idea. You know, ideas, everybody's got ideas, and not everybody likes the ideas, and that's okay. As I said before, we may not always agree, but we respect each other at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Majority rule.
So,
And the other thing, I think the 4 of us that were here last term will tell you that when we run out of money, it's a big sigh of relief.
Yes.
I mean, it truly is, because it,
And do you think if having this, if we went the opposite way, having the board, that would be?
I think it would take the, make
Yeah.
it so, make it less personal and play upon your feelings, and maybe the money could be further divided.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
makes sense.
that's kind of what I'm thinking. Doc, would you agree?
Yeah.
Kurt?
Not really, but.
I don't know. Jerry?
you having a bad day or
I
something?
like the idea, you know, it keeps us in tune to the groups out there. I like the
Well,
idea they come in, they
you're right.
talk to us, we know what's going on out there, but I understand the other point of it too.
Yeah.
This
It's,
group has a reputation which is well-deserved for including people into the council meetings.
we do.
And now you're talking about, well, let's just shove these people over to a committee and we'll let them do it.
The reporter is always right.
The Fourth Estate just spoke.
What's that?
I said the Fourth Estate just spoke.
Yeah, yeah, she did.
What's gonna happen is you guys are gonna be it on the meetings over that, and you're gonna.
So my 4 years of mayor, I've just observed that sometimes it's very uncomfortable.
Wrong.
It is
You know, and I was just seeking out a solution, not to say those people are important and we just throw them, just making it a solution to that.
I'll give you that.
But so we
You're
could,
right.
if we want to keep it the way we're doing, then let's go for it, man.
You know what, Mayor, I guess since we have 3 out of the 7 are new, maybe we should try it for a while. We could always go the other way.
Like,
You know?
try what for a while, just the way it's always been?
Yeah,
What, try keeping it or what?
keeping it how it is. You know, I don't know. I know
Can we time
Kurt
it?
feels that way, and so does Jerry. And
Yeah.
Well,
You
we
know.
always say let's give them a few minutes and next.
And then it always ends up
It always
longer,
ends up
right?
Well, here's the thing, when you go to the county, when we were going to give a yay or nay, whether we agreed with something, you signed your name on a sheet and you got 5 minutes.
Right.
That was it.
Well,
There was no difference.
I got the gavel, I got the pen and the gavel. And
If they have to fill out the application anyway, which we have ahead of time,
it's in our package.
is it necessary for them to get up there and basically recite the package to
Yeah,
us?
I don't necessarily think it should be. I mean, that could put a strain on organizations that don't have the availability to come in the evenings, yeah,
We do have that situation.
yeah.
Yeah, we don't give money unless, prior to that, we never gave money unless they were here.
That's what I was gonna ask.
I mean,
So
they-
if they fill out the form
they can
and
come.
they can't come, then we won't, should we go get
We'll wait
money
till next
currently?
Okay.
Yeah. Would you like to speak?
All right.
Question. So, during the, you know, I coach baseball, I'm not here to get anything, but I'm just asking a question. Right. Through the application process that's reviewed, don't you already know more or less if you're gonna give before they come and dollar amount to give them approval to come and say, hey, you're invited to the meeting, and they can say their 2 cents and then they're blessed, basically?
Most generally, the way it happens is, you know, this group that we gave 500 to last year, they come up and talk, and we pretty much, I mean, I lay, you know, I could say, Vince, I'll bet you $10 we give them $500 this year, you know, and it's usually, well, we gave you 500 last year, so somebody makes a motion, 500.
I mean, if they're here, if we have questions from reading their report,
Right.
we can ask them, and they can answer, but I don't need to hear the same spiel this year that I heard last year and the year before and the year before. CASA, for instance, tremendous organization. But what's she gonna say new this year?
You already know about it.
But it's also nice to put a face to the organization who's the head of that organization, because each year they do change a different director.
They can
it's
be
nice-
here.
Relative to committee, if the committee approves, and then they come in for acceptance, you notify them to come in,
and they can stand up there, and they can be awarded, that way they're recognized as well.
How about this?
That's not a bad idea.
How about this? Let's just put an end to this. It seems like it's going to be a split ideas. You know, you hate to upset the apple cart, and change is hard for everything. So we just, my suggestion then is to keep doing what we're doing for this year. See
Right.
what we're doing. Let everybody get a chance to see what it is, and we can give our accolades to the groups and, go, if that's,
What has made it better is that it has to be a nonprofit group now.
Yeah.
That has made it
Eliminated a lot of the things.
immensely better.
so.
That took the
What do you think?
three cheerleaders to DC or what office.
We could try for a year, and we can also, see how long it takes.
Yeah, I mean, like, maybe you could also sort of pursue, like, legally how it would look doing it the other way, so that way we're
We can
prepared.
work on seeing how other cities do it and get more detailed, and maybe by the end of the year, we can come
That
up with
sounds
something.
good.
So that sound good to you guys,
Yeah, sounds good.
ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah.
Okay, so that, we'll just keep it as is. Phew.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be that way.
Work.
So, okay, is there anything else? Any other business? No other business? Then I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.